and get started. So I want to thank everybody for coming. It's actually a really nice turnout with how bad the weather is, so I'm glad everybody was able to make it safely here. We're going to go ahead and get through this so we can get everybody out of here so you can drive through it back home. And then it'll turn to rain and it won't matter. So I was asked several years ago to do this safety training. This is my third year doing it. We've kind of refined it from the first one to the second one, and now to the third one we've kind of refined it to cover the basis and get kind of the meat and potatoes of what we wanted this to be. So we do have I'm sorry. I took the agenda slide off. So we're going to go over active shooter, medical emergencies.
I made copies of it.
Okay. We're going to go over active shooter events. We're going to go over medical emergencies, fires that could possibly happen, evacuation, and then we'll just kind of look over the emergency plan that they have for the Talmadge Lutheran Church. So about me, actually, this is the wrong slide. Because this has all been updated. Hey Gail, this is the wrong PowerPoint.
Is there more than one, Jim, on the?
I think there was only one on that flash drive, I believe.
That's what we tagged, but go with the same one.
So I'll run through. Pastor, it should have been, it's just one thing on that flash drive in a folder. Yeah. Like I went through this, something doesn't seem right, but. All right. There's the agenda. So everything I just talked about, I made a slide for it. So about me, I've been in the public safety sector for 26 years, and I know I don't look like I'm that old. I appreciate it. I started with the Manaway Police Department back in 1999, in February of 99. I actually just crossed over for my 26 years. I started as a dispatcher. Went to police academy, became a police officer, was a police officer for several years, continued with dispatch, and then made the transition to, as the police call it, the dark side, into the fire service. I've been in the fire service for 18 years now. I had a stint at Manaway Fire for a little while. I currently am a lieutenant supervising an entire shift at Bainbridge Township up in Geauga County, and I work part-time at Aurora. I am a state of Ohio paramedic. I'm a fire and EMS instructor. I have the 18 years in law enforcement, and I actually am a certified CCW instructor, although I haven't done it in quite a number of years. I haven't done that, but I am certified through the NRA for that. So we looked at why we need this training. The big thing that we looked at was active shooters are a big thing. Churches are not exempt from that by any means. Several years ago, there was a shooting in Texas where a couple people came into the church in an active shooter situation. The suspect was neutralized by actually a member of the church who was carrying a concealed weapon at the church and ended up neutralizing the suspect at that time. So it's just something that it brings awareness to, that nobody is immune to this. It's something we need to be aware of. It's something that we need to be cognitive of. They always say that they always hit you, an enemy will hit you wherever you least expect it. Think about Pearl Harbor. They never thought they were going to attack Pearl Harbor, and they did. You think about 9/11, they never thought they'd take over airplanes, and they did. So it's wherever you think that they're not going to get you is where they're going to get you. So it's good to be aware of this stuff so that we can help combat this. So some of the statistics that we got, the FBI There's been a 66.7 increase from 2018 to 2022. They haven't updated that stat. It's actually the same one as last year. But still, a 66.7% increase in active shooter instances. In 2022, 2 out of the 50 actually occurred in a place of worship. So, still a lot more than we would want to see for sure. Both incidents, the shooter was apprehended by law enforcement after being restrained by citizens at the scene. So as we would restrain him and hold him, the police would come and they would arrest him. And that was kind of why this training is about, so that we can be aware of those things and we can actually head these off at the pass before they turn into major events. And we want to provide a safe and welcoming place for people to worship. We don't want people to come in and think, oh, I hope I don't get killed today or something like that. We've got to make this a safe environment for everybody when they come. So communication is the key. If you see something, say something. If you're like, man, that guy's acting really weird, but I'm sure Gail sees him, so I'm not going to worry about it. One thing is like even in the fire service, we use that quite a bit, is that if you see smoke and flame coming out of a window, even though everybody possibly saw it, you still say, hey, did everybody see that smoke and fire coming out of that window? That way, in case somebody did miss it, everybody is aware that something is going on. So if you see something, say something. So some of the signs that we see with suspicious people is nervous fidgeting. You'll see somebody, messing with papers or their wallet, or they're just kind of moving around quite a bit. More than usual. I mean, there are some people that that nervously fidget, but it's more than normal. It's something that's just like, no, that doesn't seem right. It's somebody you don't really recognize, that kind of stuff. They avoid eye contact. They really don't want to make contact with people. They just kind of look over you, kind of like I'm doing right now, where they're just not really looking at anybody. They're just kind of looking through you to avoid that eye contact. Any unusual body language that you might see that somebody would have. Something that, so even, we'll take it this way. So it's wintertime right now. If I was standing here in t-shirt and shorts and sandals, you'd be like, something's weird about that. It's unusual. Doesn't match up. If it's July and somebody's wearing a giant trench coat and a full suit, that doesn't seem right. Something's off about that. A lot of them will hang around entrances and exits just because they're not fully committed to what they're doing. So they want the easy escape. They want an entrance exit that they can easily get out of. So maybe somebody hanging out around that exit seems a little bit like, well, why is somebody standing over there? That might be something that is a little bit odd. Excessive sweating, again, the nervousness. If they're feeling nervous about what they're about to do, they're not really sure, they're not really confident. Obviously, most people, they're going to have a thought process that they're going to go through, especially in a situation that they're going to commit something like a shooting or something like that. There's going to be a thought process of like, oh, well, if I do this, I could go to jail. Like, what if this, what if, and they start getting worked up, nervous, and they'll start sweating, and you'll see excessive sweating, and they'll ask probing questions. Usually that's like before the instance. So they'll come in and they'll be like, oh, is this normally how many people are here at the church? Is this like kind of like a normal Sunday? Lord, what do you have more people? Like on a Christmas is more, like those kind of questions and stuff like that might be probing questions of like, well, if I wanted more victims, I'm going to come to an Easter or a Christmas because there's going to be more people here. That's some of the things that they'll ask you as probing questions. It's not normal questions that somebody's going to ask. So this is a picture here. I just got it off the internet. The one thing I like with this picture is that is a typical what somebody would come into Sunday and wear. Okay, suit, trench coat, normal, just standing around there. The thing is with that is that it's easily to conceal a weapon. You can easily conceal it in a trench coat like that, especially a rifle, something more high power than a pistol, something like a semi-automatic weapon would be easy to conceal with that just because of the long coat. They make slings for these weapons that you can actually, put it over and you could really hide it very well and make it easily deployable. So these are the things that somebody could easily come in here, we wouldn't think anything of it, but then they could easily be holding something, carrying something. So it's one of those things that we need to be aware of so that we can, just kind of keep an eye on it. Again, if this was July, I'd be like, something's a little off here. You don't really wear a trench coat in July, or even like a vest or stuff like that. That's kind of something that doesn't happen in those months. So, so the ways we can handle somebody who's suspicious or somebody we suspect is suspicious, if we start talking and we're like, you know who that guy is over there? And no, I'm not really sure who that is. Like, he doesn't look familiar. I'm not really sure who that is. You can go and start talking to him. The one advantage a church has is that we're very welcoming. We want more people. We want new people into the church. So we want to talk to them. We want to get to know them. We want to be welcoming and stuff like that. So it's a perfect thing. We can go and just start talking to them. Oh, you know, my name's Jim. What's your name? Oh, it's nice to meet you. You know, it's the first time here at Talmadge. You know, what brings you here today and stuff like that. We can start talking to them. Just as much as they'll ask probing questions to us, we can ask probing questions back to them, and we can say something. We want to get hands-on. Can you come up here? Yeah. It's the first time I can throw you around and not get in trouble. So we want to get hands-on with people. So if somebody's here at the church and we want to, you know, we think that they're suspect, we can grab their hands like this. One of these things, grabbing the elbow, that's also a thing that we can also do. A lot of people will do that. I've had a lot of people come up and go, oh, Jim, how you doing? And they grab the elbow. But what they got is 2 points of control. So if for some reason she starts coming after me and attacking me, I can just extend this arm down, put her in an arm bar, put her down on the ground. If it started to get physical, I have 2 points of contact. I have the advantage. She does not, I do. So I got her. Can't use this at home. So I have 2 points of contact. I have control of her right now. Because all I have to do is stretch that arm out, put my hand back here, and I can put her down. It's called an arm bar is what that's called. So, thanks. So hands-on, that's something that we can easily do that's not going to be suspicious or anything like that if we're grabbing the elbow and we have that, but we have control. So if we have somebody that's suspect, if it turns out it's nothing, nice to meet you, you let go and you walk away, but you have those 2 points of contact. Now, before you make contact with somebody, you're going to want to tell somebody, hey, Jeff, I'm going to go talk to this guy over here, kind of keep an eye out. Just because then he knows, oh, okay, Jim's over there, I'm going to keep an eye on him. If all of a sudden Jim throws him down to the ground and puts him in an arm bar, okay, something's going on. He can come over, he can say, hey, Daryl, can you go ahead and call 911, and he could come over and he can help me. So that because we're all on a big team, we can be able to help each other with that. And then you can also give somebody a shadow. So if I was suspect of somebody, I could be like, hey, Jeff, I'm a little nervous about this guy. Not getting a good vibe about him. Can you just kind of keep an eye on him? Oh, yeah, sure. And then he can go over to him and be like, oh, my name's Jeff. Mind if I sit with you? And then, you know, and we'll sit in church together. It gives him a shadow. It gives somebody is on him and somebody's going to keep an eye on him in that situation. A very good thing to do with that is, you know, just keep up the conversation. That's going to make somebody very nervous that they've got somebody sitting right next to them. So that'll definitely make them a little bit more nervous about that stuff. So in active shooter instances, there's 3 things that you can do. You can run, hide, or fight. Those are the 3 things that you're going to want to do in an active shooter instance. Now, which one are you going to do? Depends on the situation. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over all 3 of these, and then when you get presented in that situation, then you decide which one's going to be the best course of action for you. So run. If all of a sudden we were standing in here and we started hearing gunshots down by pastor's office down that way, we're probably in a very good situation to run. And we're all going to run out that door. We're going to get out as far away from the church as we possibly can, and we're going to get out. There's probably going to be some of us that are probably going to run to the shooting and see what's going on because we might have a weapon on us or something like that. That'll get into one of our next ones. So we're going to get away. That's going to be our top priority. We're going to just get as many people out of here as we can. We're going to try to help the physically disabled that are going to be a little bit harder to get out, that are going to be in wheelchairs or harder to walk. We're going to get them out. Another thing you can do in those instances is, you know, we need to get this person out. Hey, Jeff, help me carry this person. We're going to go. And you just pick them up and you go with them. Or just throw them over your shoulder and you go. If you know, dignity kind of goes out the window in those situations. You just kind of grab somebody and you just get out and you go. Leave behind any belongings. Don't worry about, it's kind of like if your house catches on fire. You don't want to be like, well, I need my purse, my computer, it's got all that stuff on it. You know, I need that. And start grabbing instances. I had a fire recently. I was at Bainbridge, and the homeowner ended up, her house caught on fire. She got out of the house, called 911. went back into the house to find stuff, and ended up at Akron Burn Center with 3 surgeries, and she's still in the hospital with burn injuries, but she's already had 3 surgeries because she did that. Just because she ran back in the house to get something. It's let the fire department get it. If it's that important, we'll get the fire out, and then part of our thing is we try to recover as best we can things that are there. So help others as you can. Again, if physically disabled somebody, you know, grab them, throw them over your shoulder and get out if you're able to, or hey, the 2 of us, let's go get this person out. We're going to warn people to stay away from the area. If we're all running outside and Pastor Andy's coming walking in, you're going to say, no, get out of here. There's something's going on. Get out of here. Get out of here. You're going to want to keep people away from the area and get them out of that area as fast as you can, just to kind of protect that area. And then you're going to want to call 911 only when you're safe. You're not going to want to call them in the midst of all this stuff because you're going to have a lot of things going on. You're going to be trying to look for a shooter. You're going to try to be getting people out, and then trying to call 911 and give them information. And the dispatcher's going to ask you 1,000 questions. As being a dispatcher for 18 years, we have 1,000 questions. Where's he at? What's he look like? You know, what do you know? And you might not know any of it, but they're going to ask you a ton of questions. Being in the middle of trying to evacuate people is not the time to try to be doing 2 things at once. So then hide. So all of a sudden we're in here, we start hearing gunshots over by the side doors over here. We start hearing that. Maybe running out's not the best course of action. So what we're going to do is we're going to hide. We're going to get down on the floor. We're going to try to hide behind stuff, kind of make a wall, a barrier between us. We want to stay out of the shooter's view. So if somebody came popping through that door and looks in here and the lights are off and it looks like nobody's in here, they're going to move on to the next room. If they come in here and they see all of us and the lights on, they're going to be like, or they hear us talking, they're going to say, oh, there's people in here. So we want to make sure we stay out of their view. We're going to lock and block entrances and turn off lights. So we're going to shut these doors. We're going to turn the lights off. We're going to hide behind stuff, something big and heavy. You know, we got an exit over there. Again, that goes more to the run stuff. But we're going to just kind of hide behind stuff to give us that barrier. As you know, if bullets start flying, we have some sort of cover for that. Silence all communication devices. Last thing you need is that your phone starts ringing. They're going to be like, oh, somebody's in here because their phone's ringing. They saw that with the Columbine shooting. Kids' phones would ring or something like that, or some kids' devices of some kind would make noise, and that's how they found some people that way in the Columbine shooting. So again, silence your devices. Groups of people should spread out. So we shouldn't group all in a big huddle like here. We should all kind of like spread out, because the thing is that when somebody comes in and they're going to shoot somebody, they're going to just start going down the line. If they got to shoot over here, shoot over there, shoot over here, shoot over here, it's very difficult for them to kind of engage each person like that. So if we're more spread out, it's a lot harder to engage that way. Text 911. A lot of people don't know this. You can text 911 and it will go to Summit County. I double checked. Summit County does have text 911. So it's something that's kind of sweeping the nation right now. So you can dial 911 on your text message. You can sit there and say, I need help, Talmadge Lutheran Church. We have an active shooter, and it will go to dispatch centers, and they will go ahead and coordinate with police. So then again, police show up, we're hiding. Police come in here, they're gonna not know who the suspect is. They're not gonna know if it's 1 guy, 2 guys, 3 guys, 4 guys. They're not gonna know. So what they're going to do is that they're going to probably point their weapons at you, put your hands up, and they're going to start evacuating us. We're not going to evacuate until we get the all clear from the police. Until we get that, we're going to just stay in place and wait for that all clear that we can actually start evacuating and getting out. Now fight. So here's the thing about fight. It's a last resort. This is one of those situations where your life is in imminent danger, and you're either going to fight or you're going to die. This is something that you have to, as I tell people, you have to make peace with this. If you're going to fight, you're going to go down swinging, as they say. So you're in an active shooter situation and you go to the fight stage, you're going to want to start acting aggressively. So if somebody starts coming in the door, and they start coming at me, I'm going to try to be big and as aggressive as I can. It's no different than if you're trying to fight a bear. You're going to want to seem big and angry and mad and stuff like that, and be like, oh, this guy's crazy. Like I'm not messing with him. So we want to act aggressive. We want to be, big posturing, and we want to go after him. Throw things at him. So if somebody starts coming in here, I have my water bottle here. I can throw it at him and hit him. Is it going to hurt him? No, but it's going to distract him. And it might be just that small distraction that you need to get an advantage. So you're going to start yelling at him, make a lot of noise. If somebody came in this door right now and they started charging at it, we're going to make a lot of noise. We're going to start yelling. We're going to start screaming. And we're going to start just making it chaotic as we can. And then this is the big one. You have to commit to your actions. So the thing is that you might die, but you also might incapacitate somebody in the process. So the thing is you have to commit to your actions. It's not one of those things that, like I used to do it to my brother. Been like, oh, you want to fight? And I'd hit him, and then he'd come after me. Oh, I'm just kidding. Don't come after me. That kind of thing. You can't do that. You have to commit to it. You got to be like, okay, this is it. I'm going for it. And you have to go ahead and make the commitment and go for that situation. So a lot of things, when you're doing the fight thing, a lot of things is you want to go to the sensitive areas. Eyes, try poking eyes out, pulling on ears. Groin is a popular one. So you just want to go after those sensitive areas. Kidneys are actually a really good spot because they're super sensitive. So punching somebody in the kidneys is not fun. That kind of stuff is that you want to go after those areas. If they can't see because you're poking their eyes out and you push on their eyes to the point their eye pops out, well, you incapacitated them. So you actually did what you were supposed to do. So those are the things that we want to try to do with that is make sure that we're going to commit to those actions and we're going to go for it. So what can we do here to ensure a safe environment? So walks around the church are what are commonly called security sweeps. So during the service, we might have people that are going to be walking around, ushers, elders, that kind of thing, that are going to walk around just to kind of check everything out. We could have something going on down in the gym or down one of the hallways that we're not aware of during church. But with these security sweeps, we can kind of go around and see, oh yeah, there's, somebody back here, or, something that we need to be aware of. So we're going to communicate with other staff. Again, this is the third time I've said it, communication. Again, if we see something, say something, communication is the key. Whatever catchphrase you like using, communicating with other staff about suspicious activity is highly important. Hey, I'm going to go down and check the gym real quick. I'll be right back. Well, it's been 20 minutes and Gail hasn't come back yet. That seems weird. I probably should head down there too. Hey, Jeff, I'm going to head down and see where Gail's at because she left like 20 minutes ago and I don't know where she went. So it's that kind of stuff that we want to make sure that we notify other people. Notifying law enforcement of suspicious activity. If we see something, if we have a guy that's just not acting right, again, we see all the signs. Call the police department. We have a suspicious person here. We'd like to get checked out. The police can come here. You can easily escort them out. You don't have to cause a big disruption. You notify them of an instance that, maybe we need to get somebody out there to check them out. Limiting entrance and exit points. That's a big one. Locking doors that don't need to be open at certain times, especially like at a church service. You don't want. It's kind of a tricky thing because we're a church, we're welcoming, we want to have a bunch of people come in, we want them to not come to a door and find it locked, but for the sake of safety, it's better to have those doors locked so that we can control entrance and exits in the church. So we know that this door's open, that door's open, so we know that we can kind of strategically place people at those entrances so that we know that we're pretty good about, like, we got two entrances of people coming in, we're going to protect those entrances, we're going to keep an eye on those entrances. So as people come in there, we can kind of visually look at people. If we have somebody that sneaks in down past, what's that door down there past the King's Kids, that with the overhang by it?
That's door number 4.
4. So if I wanted to come in on a Sunday through door 4 and I come walking in, it's going to take me quite a bit before I get to a point where somebody's probably going to notice me on a Sunday. Easter Sunday, everybody's in the church, and I come walking down that hallway, I got time to prep. That's a big thing. People are going to, you're either going to prep in your car, you're going to come inside, you're going to prep. From an active shooter aspect, there's going to be a prep point of it. Very rarely does somebody come in ready to go. in that, usually there's a prep period somewhere at some point. So limiting those entrances really does help to make sure that we are able to watch who's coming in and who's coming out, just to kind of keep an eye on that. And then in an active shooter instance, one of the best things to do is pull the fire alarm, because that immediately notifies the dispatch center that something's wrong here. Mainly a fire is what they're thinking, but the thing is that it starts people on their way. They're notified, fire department's on their way. The one thing I will tell you, please, 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 if you're in an active shooter instance though, if you pull the fire alarm, somebody get away so that they can call 911 and let them know that it's not a fire, it's an active shooter incident, because the firemen are not gonna like it, I promise you, are not gonna like it if they come walking in and be like, where's the fire? And there's a shooter, you know, doing what he does. So you wanna make sure that you are able to coordinate with them of, hey, we pulled the fire alarm, but there's an active shooter instance going on. It also goes back to what we talked about with making a lot of noise, a lot of confusion, fire alarms going off. In an active shooter instance, if you're an active shooter and the fire alarm's going off, you're like, uh-oh, people are on their way. The fire department, police department, people are on their way. I'm leaving, I'm getting out of here. They don't like commotion. They like coming in, doing what they were gonna do, and they like getting out. They don't wanna really stay and hang out too much, because they know people are coming. And then you run into the issue is that if the police do show up, now you're getting into hostage situations, just because of the you know, the police are outside and all that other stuff. So now you're getting into more of like a hostage situation, which again, I'd probably go into fight mode at that point if I was in a hostage situation. But that's something that I would do. It might not be what everybody else would want to do. So, why don't we take a quick 5-minute break? Refill your coffees real quick, use the restroom. We'll just do like a quick 5 minutes, and then we'll get back into medical emergencies and fire emergencies and go through that.